Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And how are we all today? Well, as you can see, it's a beautiful morning. Absolutely glorious here in beautiful old Macerado. No sign of any snow, that is for sure. It's really strange that the national news in Greece at the moment is all about snow and frost and everything else like that is associated with it. Yet here, yes, we had a little bit of snow briefly, but it looks like it has all gone away now. Although yesterday I did see cars still driving around with snowmen on their bonnets. I saw about 4 cars yesterday driving about with snowmen on their bonnets. But on the whole, I think the snow has passed. If anybody's tuning in from the top end of the island, up round by Ias Leon and those sort of areas, just let me know if it's all gone up there now, whether it's back to what it is today. Absolutely clear, beautiful skies looking down towards Kerry and Amber Lockerbie. As you can see, it's just absolutely lovely. Just a hint of cloud in the sky, but nothing to be concerned about. Let's have a quick look round the other side of the house, looking towards Laguna and also looking towards Kalamaki. Big shout out to Wiggy Winstanley over there in Cyprus, who's tuning in. Oh, and it is absolutely glorious. And the chickens are coming to say hello already. Absolutely fantastic. And it's so warm. It's so warm in the sun at the moment, which is lovely. And looking across, as you can see, lovely, clear, sunny day. And looking up towards Sillavi, over the top of the hill and far away is Sillavi. That is looking like it's going to be a nice, clear, sunny, bright day up there as well. So all in all, it's looking good at the moment, and it's warming up. Right, okay, let's have a quick look at the news for the last 24 hours. Some of the news is quite interesting at the moment because there's things been going on. Can I hear a little meow? Oh, that's Domino. Domino, do you want to go in? Is that what you want to do? Hey, you want to go in? Oh, the chickens are here on attack as well. Go on, in you go. There we go. All right, let's feed these little girls, shall we? I know people love watching the chickens being fed, so come here then. Come on, come and have something to eat for the people. There we go. Chickens are there. See, spoiling them at the moment. That's why we're spoiling the chickens. Anyway, Kevin Bell's watching. Lindsay Lamb is watching at the moment. This is Laura and Hardy, 2 of our chickens. They're probably the most friendliest. Mr. Cockerell is slowly getting his courage up, coming up. There you go, guys. Right, that's it. I've got to do the news now. The ambassador of the Cyprus Republic, Wiggy, is looking in, or the Cyprus Republic of Wigan. Nice to see you, big fella. Right, let's have a look at the news for today, because to be honest, the news at the moment is in some ways a bit interesting, all right? And I will get on to that. But first of all, let's have a quick look at the stats for the last 24 hours here in Greece. Just to remind you, today's the 11th of February. It is a Wednesday, and we are now into day 103 of the lockdown, all right? And COVID in the last 24 hours. Now, infections, I'm afraid, are up. Last time I reported to you, we had 698 new infections across the country. Today, we have 1,121 new infections recorded. All right, 173,905 people have been affected by the pandemic since it started, and 52% of them are male. Now, we've had 6 new cases identified at entry ports into Greece. That was down from the previous report where we'd had 11. Now, according to the national stats yesterday, there was 1 case on Kefalonia, 1 case on Corfu, and 1 case in Zakynthos. This is on the national stats. However, locally in Zakynthos, we've had 3 new cases reported within the last 24 hours, and I'll just quickly rattle through those. A 46-year-old man was diagnosed with coronavirus who went to the hospital, had a molecular test. He was suffering from mild symptoms, and he has been in contact with somebody else who's had COVID, and he's been sent home to remain in isolation for 14 days. Then late last night, we had another 2 cases. The first was a 48-year-old woman. She'd obviously contracted mild symptoms, tested positive, was sent home to self-isolate. She'd also been in contact with somebody else who had the virus. An 11-year-old boy also tested positive as well last night. He had mild symptoms of the virus. He's been sent home to self-isolate. Now, he also had been in contact with another confirmed case, which came from a private daycare centre. Anyway, he's going to remain in home quarantine for 14 days and obviously be retested again to see how he's faring. So once again, we've had 3 confirmed cases here on the island. The national statistics said 1. However, we'll see what the stats are tomorrow and see if they play catch up. But once again, can I just impress upon people, remember that these national stats that they put out is people testing positive. It doesn't mean that they've got it, but they've tested positive, and it could be a false positive. So once again, just bear that in mind when you start reading national stats and that for anywhere, I think, to be quite honest. Right, so at the moment then, Zakynthos has had 83 positive cases since the beginning of the year. And this year, this month, I say, of February, we've had 46 cases for the month of February. So just bear that in mind, okay, when you're actually thinking about our stat numbers. Anyway, as for deaths at the moment, they're up slightly. Last time I reported to you that we had 26 deaths. At the moment, we've got 29 new deaths across the country. That means the total amount of deaths Greece has had since the beginning of the pandemic is 6,152. The average age of those people is 79 years of age, and 95.4% of those had underlying health conditions or were over the age of 70. And just to put that into perspective, the death rate in Greece before COVID in 2019, daily death rate was 329 cases a day of people passing away from various other illnesses, diseases, cancers, road accidents or whatever. But that was the average number, 329. So put that in context when you look at the figures for deaths here in Greece. Now, at the moment, it's quite interesting at the moment that for 2 days now, the government has not been releasing the genders of the fatalities of people who've passed away from the coronavirus at the moment. I don't know why they're not doing that. It just seems a little bit strange that they're not saying how many males or how many females died. Maybe they're becoming politically correct in the realms of the way the UK is. I'm not sure. But anyway, at the moment, for 2 days now, we've had no statistics for the actual genders of fatalities. Now, when it comes to critical cases in hospital, those are actually up at the moment. Last time I reported to you, we had 299 people in ICUs across Greece who were in a critical cases. At the moment, we have 309. So there's been an increase there. Genders of those we have got, 206 male and 103 female. The average age of those peoples in the ICUs at the moment is 68 years of age, and 86.5% of those have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. Anyway, one of the most interesting stories at the moment here in the local press, and I'm going to give you this story because there's certain angles to this story which are getting a little bit frightening, all right, and a little bit Orwellian. So I'm going to give you the story at the moment. Now, the local press here, the Amira newspaper, have published an interesting story that one of the doctors at the Corfu General Hospital is being treated after suffering side effects from a second dose of the vaccine. Now, these side effects included paralysis, paralysis of the lower extremities. He's suffering from fatigue and also malaise. Now, according to the information which came from CorfuTVnews.gr, the doctor was given a second dose of the coronavirus vaccine. Later that night, he didn't feel well. He said that his body was weakening, he felt paralysed in the lower extremities, and he was also suffering pain in the lower back. Now, in the words of the paper, for the first moment, the doctors of Corfu Hospital then proceeded with examinations to find out what had happened and to obviously give the appropriate treatment. Anyway, according to the article, this is the second doctor who showed paralysis after a second dose of the vaccine. The article also reminded readers that a 42-year-old nurse from Corfu had also shown the same symptoms as well. Now, Television, which is the national government-run broadcaster, they also got involved in this story, and they've been covering it and said that the doctors at the hospital are examining the correlation between the incident and the of the nurses' vaccination and obviously that of the COVID-19. However, more worryingly is at the same time, and this is the thing that worries me at the moment, is a preliminary examination was ordered by the Athens Prosecutor's Office on the occasion of the statement of the president of the Federation of Public Hospital Employees, who was named Mr. Michalis Kyriakou, who said, who talked about the 42-year-old nurse and said that she'd suffered from a vaccination, second ejection from the vaccination, and had side effects to the vaccination. Well, anyway, because of that statement, it seems that they have ordered a file to be raised, a criminal file to be raised against the president of the Workers' Federation there for hospital workers to say that he has been spreading false information and false news in regards to the vaccine. Anyway, they said that Mr. Kyriakou has committed the crime of spreading false news since before the doctors ruled. He stated with certainty that the woman's paralysis is a side effect of the vaccine. Now, that to me just seems a little bit draconian and just a little bit out of order. Already you've had two doctors suffering from side effects, or believed to be suffering from side effects, a nurse believed to be suffering from side effects, and what's interesting, they're all from the same area, so maybe it was a faulty batch, who knows. But to start bringing prosecution against somebody for saying, I've had a second dose of the vaccine and I'm not feeling well from it, that is being classed as, false news, fake news, whatever you want to call it. Now, in the meantime, here on Zakynthos, Hermes News ran the same story. That's the other newspaper here on the island concerning the Corfu doctor, with an interview from Dr. Campiotis. Now, he's in charge of ODAS, and ODAS at the moment are responsible for the vaccinations here on Zakynthos. Now, speaking to Hermes Radio about the outbreak of the pandemic in Zakynthos, he called on people to observe the measures, but also to participate in the vaccination program. He also made a special report on the structure of ODAS, emphasising that to date there has been no cases found here of any side effects from the vaccine. He also said that the vaccination process that was completed in the first stage, the important centre is for elderly and seriously ill, and this was the only ones that had obviously been injected. Greece, where no cases occur. Oh no, let's go in a little bit Greekish there. Anyway, he said we kept an absolute stand so that relatives would not come to visit people, those people who have been infected by the virus, with nothing entered into the area, with total disinfection and control. He also said that we were very, very draconian in locking down the area of the coronavirus clinic here in Zakynthos, so that we had tougher measures in place to avoid the worst. Anyway, he said the majority have now been vaccinated. Some were not vaccinated for specific reasons. He's talking about the older age group here, but they have expressed an interest now in being vaccinated. I wish very soon that staff and care will also all be vaccinated. You've got to remember that we've not had any more vaccine on the island in a while. And he also stressed that our fellow citizens must be careful to observe the measures, seek vaccination, and know that this pandemic will end like all pandemics that have affected humanity. Dr. Cambros then summed up saying he noted that in his opinion, there should be a lockdown in schools, noting that children can pass the virus with minimal symptoms, but there is a potential risk of transmitting the virus to high-risk groups, causing serious problems. So what he's saying is that, in his opinion, the schools should be closed because children can pick up the virus. They will show minimum symptoms, but they could go home, give it to Yaya, give it to mum, give it to dad, etc., back in the house. So that's the point that the doctor is making there. Now, connected with this story is a national story now, which they all kind of all link into each other. One minute we've got them saying in Corfu, be careful, there's side effects from the virus. Zakynthos is saying we've not had any of those cases here. However, we're still encouraging people to go ahead and have the vaccination. And then on the next token, at the national level, there has been total silence from official sources in Greece regarding vaccinations of the 65 to 74-year-old groups. This continues to go on with no explanation why details are not being published. Now, yesterday it was confirmed that vaccinations for those with chronic illness in the age range of 18 to 59, they will start in March now, with vaccinations of the age groups of 60 to 64 and 75 to 79 already underway. Now, people I know here have had difficulty trying to get appointments because at the moment there is no vaccine here to actually be able to get an appointment to actually get the vaccination in the first place. Anyway, however, this lack of information is causing great concerns within the 65 to 74-year-olds as they fall within the at-risk group that can suffer life-threatening symptoms from the COVID-19. So at the moment, we're still waiting to see if more vaccine is going to turn up here on Zakynthos for the vaccinations to continue. I am in the camp of I'm not in any rush to have it, although I'm entitled to have it because I am obviously 60 years of age and therefore I can. I'm one of those that's in that high risk group. But at the moment, if I'm leaving that up to people's personal choice, I'm not going to say don't have it, whatever. But my personal opinion is I'm going to quite happily wait and just see how it goes through. At the moment, I do know the UK at the moment is having issues now with the vaccine rollout. It was going absolutely great guns. And then all of a sudden, it's beginning to slow down in certain areas and certain high risk groups are not being given the vaccine. People in certain nursing homes, people with learning disabilities who are all classed as, shall we say, vulnerable people are now not seeing the vaccine being rolled out. And this is causing problems with the British government at the moment. But I'm not going to dwell there because I'm going to keep it here in Greece. Now, another interesting story at the moment is the testing of water waste in Thessaloniki. Water treatment plants there had been tested between February the 8th and the 14th, and they saw a 70% increase in the concentration of COVID-19 virus, and that's been sounding alarm bells over in that area as well. Now, Synod Meletitis, a professor of epidemiology at the Aristotle University, which is located in Thessaloniki, and he's also a member of the group that advises the government, said water waste gives us a timely diagnosis as a picture of what we will see later clinically. The methodology of this system is, he says, very well targeted and it's also reliable. Now, what is interesting is this, is we do have wastewater treatment plant here on Zakynthos. No time have I seen any information about samples being taken at the sewage farm, whether samples are being taken at the sewage farm. It would be interesting to see how our epidemiology rates in comparison to other locations from our wastewater. Remember, we are a closed island, we are locked down. Yes, we've had a bit of a blip over the last couple of weeks, but it would be interesting to see if you know, our water is being tested to see if there is any point to how long we've got left of the situation we're in at the moment before obviously measures can be lifted, or we can go to a less stricter lockdown than what we're already in. Now, going over to the EU now, the former Belgian Prime Minister Guy Verhofstadt has branded the EU's vaccination efforts as a fiasco, with only 5% of citizens vaccinated so far compared to around about 23% in the UK. Mr. Verhofstadt called on Brussels to renegotiate its ill-conceived contacts with the pharmaceutical companies. You might remember the head of the EU came in for a lot of flack when she's steamrolled countries out of the way who'd already made orders from pharmaceutical companies privately and said this is the responsibility of the EU. We're taking control, and basically prized the vaccine from countries that already ordered it in good time. And basically she's been greatly criticised, and she's actually been asked to resign, but at the moment she's still hanging on to a job. And it looks like a lot of other states within the EU now are getting exasperated with the way that the EU as a whole has handled the whole of the vaccination protest, and the way that they've used bully boy tactics to basically, and also it's a punch towards Brexit as well, with Van der Leyen trying to take supplies earmarked from the UK away from the UK to feed into Europe. So again, we'll keep an eye on how things are working there. Now, another little story that caught my eye yesterday, and I'm saying this might be a good idea for maybe the hoteliers to actually think about here in Zakynthos. This is just a proposal that's been put out, and it is interesting. It's not here in Zakynthos, but in Halkidiki, that the head of the Hoteliers Association there said on Tuesday that his members are prepared to cover half the cost of coronavirus tests taken by their guests arriving from other countries. Now, George Thassos, who is also head of the Halkidiki Tourism Association and also the Pan-Hellenic Hoteliers Association, told the Athens Macedonia news agency that guests coming from abroad will be able to recoup half the money they paid for a COVID test prior to travel from the front desk of their hotels as they check in. Thiassos said the scheme was first introduced last summer as a way of encouraging visitors from neighbouring Balkan countries who may have balked at the cost of having a test taken up to 72 hours before entering Greece. He said that COVID tests cost around €100 in some Balkan countries, a price tag that can be prohibitive for families coming to enjoy regions' pristine attractions, etc. Anyway, he also said we are hoping to bolster the government's way of thinking, which is to open the land borders to tourists on the condition that public health is safeguarded. Anyway, Greece requires at the moment travellers coming from countries with a high viral load to present negative COVID tests at their point of entry. Now, I've got to be honest, this is something that has to be looked at the moment. Last year, we didn't have any kind of certificate for vaccinations or anything else like that. The cost of testing could vary extremely because there's people making money out of this. Yes, you can still get a free test here. Go to the hospital, say, I'm not feeling well, and you'll get a test. All right. However, this is going to be important for our forthcoming season. I don't know if the hoteliers, because of the fact a lot of hotels didn't get paid last year from the likes of TUI, whether hotels can afford this. But at the end of the day, it's an interesting proposal. I didn't realise that Halkidiki were doing that last year. It's interesting that they're talking about their Balkan customers. Yeah, we have customers from the Balkans, from former parts of Yugoslavia, also from areas of Poland, although I wouldn't call them a Balkan country, but even an Eastern European country, because I know they don't like to be called that. But we've had people from those countries still coming here. And again, their cost of living is way lower than ours, and everything is relative. And €100 for a check is expensive. And also, when you look at the UK, a family of four having to fork out at the moment, I've been hearing numbers as high as £250 for a test, and to have a test of 250 quid, and then another test when you arrive, smacks of, well, what's the point of having a test if you're not going to trust the people coming who've had the test with the test that they've had? So again, that is something that as time goes by, we shall be looking at that very closely as we get to, hopefully, when our tourism season will start. And finally, a nice happy story for you. And I think this is a lovely story. Last Thursday, a passerby spotted a dolphin on the shore of Carina Beach near Calabria. Now that's up near Halkidiki. That's up in the north part of the country. Anyway, locals rushed to have a look, and there was a second dolphin that somehow had been come stuck on dry land. It was probably a mother or a mate had come up onto the shore. Anyway, a number of volunteers set out to rescue these majestic sea mammals, as it's described in the article, after they found they were struggling on the beach. Now, they came across the second dolphin after they began attempts to move the first dolphin, which they found earlier on that day on the beach, and luckily both of them were still alive. So basically what they done was they got a truck, they managed to lift these two creatures into the back of the truck and drove like the clappers to get as quickly as they could to a little port where they then were able to reintroduce both of the dolphins back into the water, and they swam away. So I thought, what a lovely story. People helping the dolphins, and they were able to get back into the water, and miraculously, no ill effects, no feelings, and were able to get back into the sea. So there you go. Nice little happy story after a lot of what I would call thought-provoking comment today on our local news. Right, let's have a quick look and see who's tuned in. Jeremy Paul Buchanan is tuning in. Nice to see you, fella. Barry Leatherdale is watching in from Essex. Wiggy Winstanley, the ambassador for Wigan in Cyprus, is tuning in as well. John Mims is also tuning in. Nice to see you as well. Kevin Bell is also tuning in. Lindsay Lamb, I've already said. Wiggy is saying good morning. Julie Meldrose is watching in. Tim Crystal is watching in as well. Nice to see you, Tim. I've also got Amanda looking in at the moment. I'm hoping that she's giving me a bit of weather forecasting for the day. Where else have we got? Amanda Gregory is watching. Mark Billingham, the old poacher, is tuning in. Ex-RAF Reg buddy. Steve Hodgson, firefighter up there in County Durham, is also tuning in as well. I hope you're good there, Steve. I know you're a bit of a Northern Soul man as well. Jeannie McFlaurin is also tuning in as well. Les Harman, RAF Reg buddy, is also tuning in as well. Barry Leatherdale is also tuning in. He says, today is the 17th and not the 11th. Did I say the 11th? Well, I do apologise if I said the 11th. Don't ask me why. Could that be that was the position that my latest show that's gone up online, my dance anthem show, got in the trance charts at 11? Maybe if I said 11, I do apologise, all right? Thank you for that, Barry, for picking me up. Amanda Gregory says, morning, Ginge. Here's a weather forecast, guys. Morning, Ginge. Clear and dry and sunny today, although cold in temperature. Yeah, I've got to be honest, it is a bit chilly, but if you're standing in the sun, it's glorious. It's like one of them crispy morning days in the UK, all right? Sid James is watching. He's also a big fan of Northern Soul, and he's up there in County Durham as well. So nice to have you tuning in as well, fella. Sean Johnson is watching from the island of Crete. How you doing, big buddy? Long time no hear. I hope you're in the same position as us. I'm not sure if your part of Crete is locked down where you are, but nice to have you tuning in and checking up as well. I'll give you a call at some point and we'll have a little chat, see how things are going for you at the moment where you are. Anyway, nice to have Crete looking in as well. Matthew Long is looking in as well. Nice to see you. Lyndon down there in Wales is watching as well. Nice to have you, buddy, tuning in. Dave Matthews is tuning in. Delia is also tuning in as well. Nice to see you, my lovely. Shane Bowen is watching as well. Dave Matthews has also said, morning, Ginge, a very sad day. Rowley Watts departing for the FRV. Yeah, I agree totally. I served with Rowley Watts on 34 Squadron when he was a warrant officer on the squadron at the time. I can't even remember what year that was. I think that was between 85 and 88. Absolutely fantastic warrant officer. He was also the warrant officer on the Queen's Colour Squadron. Absolute legend within the regiment. So sad to see him pass away. And again, still relatively young as well. I served with Rowley, and his son was on the same flight I was on. And he used to get a bit of stick, his son, I've got to be honest, having your dad as a warrant officer. But bless him. He put up with it. I do know Rowley had a hotel in Blackpool
And I always meant at some point to go and stay in his B&B or hotel or whatever he had in Blackpool. I never managed to. I used to go and DJ at Pontins occasionally, doing corporate gigs up there, but I never did manage to catch up with him, and it's a shame. And I do big condolences to the family as well, especially his wife and his son as well, Tony. Anyway, a legend, absolute legend. Anyway, bless him. Shane Bowen says, good morning, Ginge. Julie Meldrum says, good morning. Graham Bint, also Raf Reg down there in Australia, tuning in. Nice to have you checking in on us, buddy. Colin Filson also tuning in as well. Mick Taggart watching as well. Dave Bowen. Andy Holmes is watching as well. Caroline Heath is watching. Heather Nash in Birmingham is watching as well. Michaela Sanderson. Oh, there's a new name, tuning in as well. Nice to see you, Michaela. So give me a little wave. I'll give you a little wave back. Christine Caldwell is tuning in. Lovely to talk to you yesterday, Christine. I hope Michael's looking forward to his birthday tomorrow. I'm putting a song in my show today for Michael's birthday. He's my son. He has his birthday tomorrow. I'm going to be playing his record, #1 record from the day he was born. All right. The #1 record he was born to. And I hope he enjoys it. Anyway, Dennis Patrick Carroll is also watching as well. He says, morning, Ginge. Jill Podgson's watching, morning, Ginge. Anyway, thank you for all those people tuning in. Greatly appreciated. Just to remind you, today's a bit of a busy day for me. Michaela Sanderson says, I listen every week with my hubby, Sid James. Cheers, my darling. Now I know who Michaela is. Thank you again. Hang on a minute. A bit of an appeal going out here at the moment. I've just been given a little bit of appeal. For those on Zante, dog charities are looking for old blankets or towels for dogs to keep warm. So if you've got an old towel, which is rather beaten and bashed from uses down the beach, that it kind of sits around, and you're meaning to get some new ones when you can. If you want to give it, get in touch with Amanda Gregory, and she will take your towels and take your old blankets to go towards some of the stray dogs and animals that I know have been rescued on the island, and they would greatly appreciate those to help them, look after the animals. So cheers for that, my darling. Right, anyway, back to today. I'm doing a show today, 3 o'clock UK time, 5 o'clock Greek time. Requests and inspiration, live show, video show coming out of Studio One here in Zakynthos. And come and join me. If you've got any requests, stick them down in the comments, all right? And I'll give you a shout. Any jukebox memories, a jukebox anywhere that you used to love hearing a tune of it, just give us a shout and I will stick it in. And give me the story behind the jukebox, where it was, what you used to listen to from that jukebox. And the reason why you like that tune, and I will dig it out and I'll put it in the show, all right, if I get one today. I've just had some people saying well done to those people rescuing the dolphins, and also well done to the helpers for the dolphins, and also well said about the dogs' blankets, woof woof. Thank you very much. Ray Maurice Phillips, Just Ray's tuning in as well. Lovely to have you looking in as well, buddy. Don't forget you can catch Ray on a Saturday night singing on the Workers' Journey. He's getting quite a following on there, I understand, and he'll entertain you. All right, now, that's it from me. Got loads to do today. Really nice people staying in touch. There's more people tuning in at the moment. Just remind you that this broadcast goes onto Facebook, and please like and subscribe on Facebook. I'm really trying to grow a little community there as well. And don't forget to ring the bell, push the bell icon, and that means that if you can't watch the live broadcast, you can always catch up on it actually on YouTube. And also it's a great place for me as an archive, just to archive all the broadcasts. I put bullet points in for what is discussed in each program, so that I can go back and cross-check any information or anything that I may have given out earlier, and keep track of things as things move, because things do move so quickly here at the moment. You'd be surprised. Despite a lockdown, the news moves quickly, and sometimes you've got to keep up with it, and also cross-reference and check things change as well so dramatically. Right. Thank you to all those people tuning in. Quick shout to Teresa Ann Huggett. Also, Alan as well in Glasgow. Chris Neal as well. Thank you for tuning in as well. I've got to go. I'll catch you later. You take care and have a great day and stay safe. Ta-ra.